creepy and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Pete Hegseth's broker tried buying millions of dollars of defense stocks weeks before the Iran war began. You think any of these people care about bringing freedom to oppressed people around the world? Get real.
It's about dollar with this administration.
Going to usher somebody in who is going to be the Antichrist.
True.
And he is going to come in with all of the answers. He is going to seem like he is the savior. He is going to seem like he comes to bring justice and he comes to take out all of the bad people. This is going to be the biggest deception of mankind. The Bible tells us that the Antichrist is going to deceive everybody into thinking that he is their savior and that he has all the answers. That the Antichrist is the devil himself.
Yeah.
So please pay very, very close attention to what happens here in the next few years, in the next few months. Who rises to power? Who claims that they're going to fix things? This is when you need to use your discernment. This is when you need to be in relationship with God.
If the power goes
Revelation 22 verse 16. Check it out.
out in your home and you don't have any lamp, flashlight, or candle available, place a small layer of rice at the bottom of the container. Then add a little water until it completely covers the rice, forming the perfect base for our improvised candle. The rice will serve as a firm support to keep the cotton swab standing upright, preventing it from falling or moving. After that, pour a little oil over the rice, just enough to lightly cover the top. The oil is what keeps the flame burning for a long time. Now take a cotton swab and dip one end into the oil. Once everything is in place, simply light the tip of the cotton swab. In just a few seconds, you will have an improvised candle working perfectly, lighting up the room in a surprising way. And the most impressive part is that this homemade candle can last more than 10 days. Remember this simple trick. I hope you enjoyed this tip, and see you in the next video.
Very smart and useful.
You're talking about President Abraham Lincoln? This guy, Honest Abe? Yeah, I'll admit there's not many pictures of him wearing a hat. I did find a couple though. Here he is wearing a hat. Here's another one of him wearing a hat. Now I'm wondering if he only wore a hat outside. And since back then, pictures were kind of tough. You had to get the camera, you had to get the thing set up. So it was really kind of an expense. And it was kind of a job to get a picture taken, that he only had his pictures taken when he was inside for the most part. That could be why there's not a lot of pictures of him wearing a hat. You know, there's lots of pictures of me wearing a cheese head, though. Shabadoo!
There is a conspiracy said that he wasn't white, he was black.
Breaking news, the new anti-Western hero Jiang is being exposed as a total fraud after...
You're an English lit graduate, and you're not a professor. I know it's your YouTube moniker, but you're a high school teacher. You're not actually a professor.
Right. Yep. And I'm not a professor. I'm not a professor. But I never said I was a professor. It's the internet who called me professor.
Hold on.
Hi, YouTube. This is Professor Jiang. Hi, YouTube.
This is bashing,
Professor
man.
Jiang. Professor Jiang here. Professor Jiang here. Professor Jiang here. Professor Jiang here.
You do call yourself Professor Jiang and you're not a professor.
Look, there's a guy on the internet who calls himself the God.
I'm good friends with a radio host called Charlemagne the God, but no one actually thinks he's a god. People actually think you're a professor.
Professor Jiang here.
Yeah, nobody could tell me this guy isn't a CCP op blowing up on YouTube in a country where it's banned. Follow me on X for more updates.
He's still a teacher, and a lot of his videos are on point. People want to discredit him because of a title. Okay, Dr. Pepper, Dr. Dre, huh?
You're about to see a video from Rob O'Neill, one of the members of SEAL Team 6 that partook in the Bin Laden raid. And here he is openly speaking candidly about what he feels the service was. And I tell you what, Rob O'Neill, there is a lot of veterans out there who share your exact same sentiment. Now, the ones that don't, hey, you know, if that's your personality and that's who you are, that's who you are. No, No judgment from me at all. But I just know I've worked with a lot of them. And yeah, they share almost exactly the same sentiment. The years later, the post-war fog is lifting. Check it out.
I'm at the point now where I don't think I fought for the country. I fought for some politician's view on something. There are particular guys that I think of that I killed. And I remember one dude in particular that I killed, and like I shot his buddy, and then I came through his room. I killed him in front of his wife in a bedroom because he went for a gun. And I think about him now, and it's like, all right, why did I kill that guy? Well, because he went for a gun. Okay, but why did he go for a gun? Well, because I was in his fucking room at 2 a.m. Well, why was I in his room at 2 a.m? Well, because George fucking Bush was pissed that Saddam Hussein allegedly wanted to kill his dad, so we invaded. And then I start to think, was this guy funny? What if I met him in Paris over a coffee? Would we have actually liked each other and I just kill him because a politician sent us here for weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist?
Yep.
The only reason we were killing each other is because we were born on different parts of the world. That's it.
Yeah. When you start seeing Ukraine and some of these things that are happening right now, like putting us in these wars that there's just no winners. And when you've been to those countries, it's like, damn, like those are real people. I watched real people there, and it doesn't feel real from the United States because we just see it on TV. But like when you've walked those streets, it just hits you different.
I agree with you, sir.
Never eat fruit from the grocery store without doing this first, my friend. This single step removes up to 98% of pesticides, wax, and chemicals from your produce in just 5 minutes. Save this video so you always have it. Here's what you do. Fill a large bowl with water. Add 1 tablespoon of baking soda for every 2 cups of water. Drop your fruits and vegetables in and let them soak for 5 minutes. Rinse with clean water. That is all. The baking soda breaks down the pesticide residue coating your produce. It dissolves the wax layer they spray on to make everything look shiny. It pulls out chemicals that plain water cannot touch. Studies show this removes up to 5 times more pesticides than water alone, my friend. You are already spending money on healthy food. Do not let the poison hiding on the skin undo all of that effort. Comment yes if this helped you, and follow me for more ancient wisdom.
Yeah, I do this too. There's AI, by the way.
In 1976, officials in West Virginia started tracking a pattern. People vanishing after turning onto a forest road that didn't exist on any current map. Campers, drivers, hikers, all last seen taking the same shortcut through the Appalachian backcountry. At first, it was blamed on the wilderness. Steep terrain, sudden storms, easy to get lost. Then 2 survivors were found. They were starving, injured, and showed signs of being held somewhere for a long time. Their story changed everything. They said there were people living deep in the forest, human, but not quite, deformed bodies, slurred speech, a strange, uneven walk. Investigators followed the hidden road and discovered crude structures built from scrap, evidence of a community that had existed for generations, completely cut off from the outside world. Forensic reports later suggested extreme inbreeding and total isolation had caused severe genetic decline. Locals admitted the road was real, but claimed they had no idea who lived beyond it. In 1978, the road was officially sealed, and whatever was living out there was left in the woods.
The movie Wrong Turn, have you seen it?
The mysterious pyramid offered by a founding member of the Board of Peace is next on the trumpet. That pyramid is in Kazakhstan, and they are a founding member of the Board of Peace that was launched by President Trump. That's where the Palace of Peace is, and the boardroom at the top holds 200 people. It literally says 200 people for religious meetings. Right there. 200 fallen angels descended onto Mount Hermon. This is definitely in the land of Magog right over here. And if you zoom in, you can see the Palace of Peace and Reconciliation. Zoom right in and then click on that dot right there in the corner. Trust me, I'm clicking on all of them. And that one oddly takes you inside at the top of it to the Palace of Peace and Reconciliation boardroom. And you can zoom out and you can see how it comes to a point and it's got the birds all in it flying, the peace doves. And then there's a hole in the middle that goes all the way to the bottom of the pyramid. And if you click on that little arrow, it goes right there. And that's the bottom of the board table right there. And if you want to see the four horses of the apocalypse, go down to the opera house right there and then zoom out and then click on the little man and then click on that button right there by that parked car. Boop, that one right there. And then you can look at the top of the roof right there and the four horses of the apocalypse are right there.
Wow. That's crazy.
You can see two of the founding members of the Board of Peace, the archer and the horseman, right up there in the top corner. And the play on words between Astana and Satana.
Satan.
Just one of the founding members offering this place up, saying, totally can meet here. It's all good. So that just happened January of this year. Peace and religion meetings right up there in the top of the pyramid. I print the Apocrypha Bible and the Dead Sea Scrolls as a codex. And on my bio page is a link tree. It is what it is. They're finished sticking it right in your face. It's always been the shape of superhuman effort. You know, they called them Nephilim, but they were really giants. And that right there is the entrance to a tomb. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. You know me and my family love you, so like and follow the trumpet for more. And in Jesus' name, have a blessed day.
You too, sir, you too. As in the days of Noah.
I just learned that according to NASA, Jurassic Park, okay, 1993, Jurassic Park is the 7th most scientifically accurate film ever made.
This is one of the spookiest files that I've seen in the Epstein files, and I have literally no explanation for what this could be. So there's the EFTA number down there if you want to look this up. As you can see at the top of this image, this file was marked confidential, meaning that they felt this file specifically obviously needed to be kept more secret than others, or it had some sort of relevance to legal cases against Epstein. But what are we looking at here? To me, I don't know about you, but this looks like some sort of liquid up top. Obviously, it looks to maybe be dried, but it looks almost like an oil, but it looks like a thicker substance. I don't know, there might be more eagle-eyed people out there than me who could tell me what this is, but it's confusing and it's just eerie looking. And then, what's up with the light? Is this light coming through a cracked door? Is this a flashlight? Why is this room or whatever this is lit like this? And why is the picture deemed confidential? I can barely even tell what this is a photo of. Like, are we looking at the ground? Are we looking at a wall? What's going on? And then, what's this thing? Is this storage of some sort? Is this like an old computer modem? Is this tech? I literally have no clue, and I might have bad eyes, but I literally just cannot tell what this is. So I'm doing a full-length video on these photos soon, the confidential photos. So if anybody knows what this is a photo of, or why this is confidential, or what this is depicting, if you could let me know in the comment section, that would be incredible, because for now, this is just a spooky image in my mind, and it's almost haunting me because I have no idea what this is showing and why they would need to keep this more secret than other images.
It feels demonic. There's something really wrong here.
This meat is bright red. That's because it's packaged with carbon monoxide and a few other gases, versus this meat is more of like a ruby red. This is kind of the color of meat. You do not want to eat carbon monoxide.
You're not going to believe this. Did you know that the first American was a black woman? Watch this.
They are the oldest skulls in the Americas. And this is the oldest of them all. The skull of a young woman nicknamed Luthia by scientists. Can she tell us who the first Americans were? The skull was taken to a hospital in Rio de Janeiro to begin the process of reconstructing her face. The first stage was to make a three-dimensional CAT scan of Luthia's skull in order to build a replica. The cast was then given to Richard Neve of the University of Manchester in England, one of the world's leading forensic artists, to recreate her features.
That to me is a Negroid face that has all the features you associate with a Negroid face. The proportions of the face, it doesn't say anything about it being a mongoloid.
They were so mad at finding out we was here first, they burnt down the museum her skull was in, found the fake skull, and tried to switch it back to being these people.
Let me know how you feel about this in the comment.
You guys hear what Friedrich Merz, who is the Chancellor of Germany, just said what would happen to Europe if this war in the Middle East continues? And at this point, I don't know that this is a warning or them just basically telling you what's going to happen. So it's called the Delphi technique, and it's where they invite a whole bunch of people from the public into like a, city council meeting to present an idea and get people's feedback and see what they may think. But the deception of it is that they're going ahead with the plans regardless. And it's the illusion of choice. They're inviting people to come listen and talk and voice their concerns to make it seem like they actually have an ability to change the direction of this thing, but they're doing it anyway. So he comes out and he says that Europe faces a COVID-level economic fallout if this thing continues. And it's being framed as like, oh, we don't really know what could happen. And we're in talks with, different countries over there trying to figure this thing out. I don't know that that's happening. I think that's making it seem like they're trying to figure this thing out, but really it's on a pre-planned, destination, which is the destruction of the current economy, bring in the new one, and there will be universal basic income and digital ID. Like, this is the plan. I got to hand it to them though. Creating the problem and then offering the solution, which they already wanted to implement anyway, is quite genius. But let me know your thoughts in the comments.
1984, the book, read it. As a matter of fact, I have it.
Is one of the most haunted hotels in the entire world. This hotel has a weird thing with a lot of people jumping off of it and committing suicide there.
Like the Cecil Hotel.
What? But this is in Colombia. The hotel is called the Hotel del Salto, and it opened up in 1923. And at the time, after it got opened, a lot of indigenous people that lived there, they would jump off of the hotels to get away from Spanish conquistadors.
Oh.
And they believed when they jumped off, instead of, dying, that they would turn into angels and fly into heaven. But after all that spread, a lot of people go to the hotel and damn near do it themselves.
Dude.
So a lot of people who were, depressed or curious enough would end up going to the hotel, and a lot of them ended up jumping off
Actually
the hotel
doing
and
it.
actually then dying. Yes. And they ended up abandoning it. And the only people that would go there is photographers and, people who were trying to go ghost hunting or whatever. Because there's a lot of people who say that they would see a lot of weird lights turning on in the hotel from rooms
And nobody's there.
That nobody's there. Yeah. And a lot of people believe that it's a lot of these people who ended up jumping off of the hotel, ended up, taking their own life there.
Yeah. It reminds me of that, what is it, overturned bridge with all those dogs?
Yeah.
Well, how do you explain that?
Why do so much people jump off of this building? Just how many dogs
jump off
that bridge?
You might as well just not walk your dog across that, bro, because it's gonna want to jump.
Yeah, and they said because of where the hotel is built at now, where it's at, it gets so foggy up there, they lose visibility, and a lot of people get dizzy up there. And that's a reason why a lot of people end up falling off too. But I don't know. I think it's weird as hell. There's so many. It was a huge amount of people that died there.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. It's come on, we all got dizzy.
You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy as hell.
While the United States government is saying that we are now on a path to deploying American troops on the ground in Iran, elites are buying bunkers. That's right. Bunker sales have surged tenfold, and the CEO of Atlas Survival Shelters said that 2 senior Trump cabinet members are recent buyers of these shelters. These bunkers are equipped with LED screens that can give the illusion of skylights while being underground. State-of-the-art air quality systems, of course, food and water storage, hidden entrances and exits to avoid unnecessary attention, and even escape tunnels. Just for this one company, sales are expected to hit 50 million next month, with models ranging from 20,000 up to luxury models that cost $5 million.
Wow.
But the question is, if there's nuclear fallout and all of our nature is destroyed, who wants to live underground anyways?
Yup.
And what about the people above ground that survive?
What do you think we're going to do to you after you come out of your bunker? What do you think we're going to teach our kids about the bunker people?
As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
Well, it was nice knowing y'all.
Hillary Clinton leaked email discusses the resurrection chamber of buried Nephilim. You know what Nephilim is?
Yeah.
Giants. It says requesting documents pertaining to the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh, the location of his body, and the buried Nephilim. Oh my God.
So that is real.
Yeah. Some of the places that people think the tomb of Gilgamesh and the buried Nephilim are in Iran and Iraq.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Antarctica.
No.
Oh, okay.
Wait.
So I already know where you're going next.
You know what I'm saying?
I already know where you're going
You know
next.
what I'm saying now? What happened before when they wanted to go into Iraq? Obviously not And,
Yeah, they sent people.
yeah, and a lot of people, the common theory, not it was planned.
Yeah.
It was the reason for them to go in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is obviously tinfoil hat, right? If it's true that these half angel, half man beings are real and they can find the bodies, use the science to live longer,
Have powers.
And make them do stuff for them.
that's very valuable information. And if they can get to those places, they would do whatever they can
Oh, yeah,
to get
100%.
there.
They have to find a reason.
They have to find a reason.
Find a
That's not
reason.
obvious for the public.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to plant their bases.
Conspiracy theory is correct. Once again,
Okay, there is a pretty big crisis unfolding right now, and barely anyone's talking about it. This right here is in the Middle East right now, where we're seeing a complete breakdown of water and the sewage systems in part of Gaza, and because of that, the untreated sewage is now entering the Mediterranean Sea. And honestly, this isn't just some random incident. This is happening because the infrastructure has been damaged from the war, the power is inconsistent, and the treatment plants can't function properly now. So the waste that should be processed is going straight into the open water. And honestly, this is kind of crazy because, you know, the sea doesn't stay still. The currents move, the water spreads, which means that this doesn't just stay in one place. It has the potential to affect the entire world. Honestly, there is a few things that could go wrong here. We could end up in a huge environmental crisis. The marine life will be massively impacted. The pressure on the fishing and coastal economies will be completely attacked. And yet, no one's really talking about this. One thing is pretty certain, you know, a collapsing sewage system, pollution entering a major sea, that's not small, right? That's something that could grow into a massive problem. Yeah, I'm just asking, right, why are we not hearing about this more? This is a pretty serious situation. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like and watch this video to the end, beautiful people. It really does help the algorithm right now. I love you all, and I'm as fictional as a dinosaur, baby.
Are we currently up against the end of times? And why do I say that? Because there was a dust storm in Australia, and then their skies turned blood red. How is it possible for a sky to turn blood red from a dust storm? And it is happening in Australia. A massive dust storm blew through the area, leaving the skies blood red. And if you haven't seen the dramatic videos, take a look at this. Take a look at these dramatic images. People are posting them all over social media and cannot comprehend what they're actually looking at. Look at this. And in a lot of videos, you hear people saying the same thing. It looks like the entire sky is on fire. Other claims are that they've never seen it this red before. Now keep in mind, this was all because of a dust storm. A dust storm. Look how bright red that sky is. Keep this in the back of your mind. This is not the first time that this has happened in Australia. Where have you ever seen a sky that red? And I mean, you've seen sunsets and seen all types of skies, but have you ever seen a sky that looks like that? So I guess my question to you is, what the heck is going on in Australia? Was this actually caused by a dust storm? Or is there something else being tested in that area? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Something is being tested, of course.
This gets wild. Not only did the bullet not match the supposed weapon that was used by Tyler Robinson, which by the way was covered by a UK Daily Mail channel, not even our country, but at the same time this article came out, something else really weird happened. The sheriff that arranged for Tyler to turn himself in resigned today. Today of all days. Hold up, this gets a lot bigger. We're not even close to done yet. Right now we're hearing that there might be a plot to take out the President of the United States. But who is really against that war? Charlie was the president's biggest advisor into geopolitical relationships. Joe Kent just stepped down and said he was not able to investigate all the leads they had.
Kirk was one of President Trump's closest advisors, and he also advocated heavily against a war with Iran. And then, Charlie Kirk is killed publicly in a very horrific way, and we're not really even allowed to look into that at all.
Then Joe Kent right here on Piers Morgan talking about how they had foreknowledge of this event with Charlie Kirk happening. So he resigns, then the bullet doesn't match, then the sheriff steps down. They're about to have boots on the ground in Iran. And the biggest escalation we've seen yet may be on the horizon. You feel that? Something majorly is off. What do you think it is? Let me know.
How could that gun fit in the backpack without the barrel sticking out? Come on, man.
Okay, so a lot of y'all wanted me to tell you what this was. This was apparently a torture device. They would heat this part up, and I'm sure you can understand where that would go if you were caught in infidelity, if you were claimed to be a witch, things of that nature. Since you guys were so interested in this, I was like, you know what? Let's just talk about all of the crazy torture tactics of the Catholic Church in general. I don't know if that one was Catholic, but let's get into it. First, you have, back then, it's like waterboarding, essentially. They would dunk you in here, and a lot of times they put a rag on your face as well, but they dunk you in there and like leave you there until you're like thrashing around. A lot of people didn't make it long with this, but if you lived, most of the time people would squeal on whatever they wanted to get out of you or whatever punishment they wanted to give you. Body stretching. This was another one. They would, obviously, you can see, put your limbs on either side and just pull you until quite literally you just rip in half. I genuinely can't imagine even seeing that. The strappado, this is when you are tied in this way and your shoulders are dislocated. Some people, like in the way that their body weight was held down, some people, like, I can't even explain it without my video getting taken down. Just to know that it was so gruesome, and you could quite literally see their bone like protruding out of their body. The Judas chair. This one, another one for infidelity, another one for witches, another one witches. Even women that were R-worded and said to be unfaithful, even though they were literally, like, they did not give consent, would sometimes get the Judas chair, from my understanding. They would lower you down with either your butt or your other hole, if you're a woman, right here at the tip point, and they would let your body weight bring you downwards, and I'm sure you know what happens, yeah. Internal injuries and sometimes death. I just want to know who thinks, like, who thought of it? Who thinks of these things? Who genuinely sits down and is like, you know what? Actually, it's a really good torture tactic. Let's do that next. Depravity. Demonic. I can't. Anyway, y'all. As always, make sure you like and follow. Comment down below if I should make this a whole entire series, because God knows there are so many torture tactics throughout history in different areas of the world.
The people who made this are the same evil energies that run our world.
There's something really strange about Jeffrey Epstein's past, and I don't really see anybody talking about it. So, believe it or not, at one point, Jeffrey
looks a bit like John Travolta there.
Epstein was, just like everybody else, a young American teenager, and he went to school at NYU. However, according to the official story, as you can see here on this document from the file, Jeffrey E. Epstein issued an invalid check to New York University during the 1973-74 academic year. Note, credit sued by NYU. So, according to the story, Jeffrey Epstein basically issued a bad check to NYU, and that's why he ended up dropping out. However, just 1 year later, Epstein was in a ritzy apartment in London, an apartment that he was paying off himself. This is an email from a woman named Aldine Honey to Leslie Groff, Jeffrey Epstein's assistant. Aldine Honey seems to be a realtor from the London area. In this email, she writes, "I thought I remembered you. I love Jeffrey, known him since he was 21 years old. I bought his first apartment in Eaton Square for him, remember?" So there's a reference to this apartment in Eaton Square. Then there is another email between this woman and Jeffrey Epstein. She states, "I have sold your apartment at Eaton Square many times over, the latest sale only recently, and still have the salt and pepper shakers, which of course are a daily reminder." So another reference to an apartment in Eaton Square, London. There's also mentions of this apartment and him living there in one of Epstein's birthday books. But just listen to one of these birthday wishes given to Epstein. "Jeffrey, I remember in the mid-1970s you being a star salesman for our tax advantage strategies and hedged option program. I was running an account for Bob Maxwell." And I'm assuming that's Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell's father, the Israeli super spy who died a suspicious death as well. The note continues, "You always had the ability to know everyone and be charming. Was that when you first discovered the Maxwell teenage daughter? Happy birthday." So that's what just doesn't make sense to me. You can see Epstein apparently gives that bad check to NYU and drops out in 74 or 73, I guess. Then he states he's employed from 1973 to 1974 at the University of California, Berkeley. But then according to the timeline, about 1 year later, Jeffrey Epstein randomly pops up in England in a sort of ritzy apartment. He didn't graduate. He didn't have any of these things going for him, but somehow he ends up over in London in a somewhat ritzy apartment in a nice area of the city, working for a firm. And eventually that's where he, on paper at least, in the official story, crosses paths with Robert Maxwell, one of the richest people on earth, and obviously father to his future co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell. But what happened during that 1 year? What was the official reasoning for Jeffrey moving to England? I mean, he had just dropped out of college. He was practically a nobody. It's not like he was super wealthy at this point. And yet somehow he ends up over there, and it's through that connection that he connects to Robert Maxwell on paper. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, because this rabbit hole goes very deep.
So you don't believe in like the dark forest theory that maybe we should just be
It's
quiet?
also a possibility. We just don't know. It's possible that the solution to Fermi's paradox is that there are aliens not far from us, but they are quiet, silent, because they live in a dark forest where there could be predators, and those that were not careful were killed. And so they're listening to us, and we might hear from them, and they're not very far away. You can imagine technological craft being parked in the solar system. Any object bigger than a football field will not be visible at distances larger than 10 times the Earth-Sun separation for the telescopes we are operating now. So there could be plenty of technological objects far away, bigger than the biggest rocket we ever built, bigger than Starship, a football field size. Beyond 10 times the Earth-Sun separation, it wouldn't reflect enough sunlight.
This is 10 AU?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Okay.
10 AU.
Okay.
And so I did a calculation about 15 years ago where I said, in collaboration with Ed Turner, a colleague of mine from Princeton, I said, what if there are artificial lights in the outer solar system? Okay, would we detect them? So at the time, there was the Hubble Space Telescope, and we asked them, if you take the deepest images of the Hubble Space Telescope, how much light can you detect? And we found that from the distance of Pluto, we would be able to see a city like Tokyo.
Okay, that's still pretty difficult to see.
Yeah, but a city like Tokyo consumes a small fraction of the power supply on Earth, right? You know, and there could be some infrastructure. Yeah, it's difficult to see, so it may be there. And the way for you to figure it out, if you were to observe a point of light, is that as this object recedes away from the sun, it gets dimmer faster if it reflects sunlight than if it generates its own light. Another way to look at it, if you have a technological object approaching us, it will get brighter faster than just the reflection of sunlight makes it brighter. That's because the amount of sunlight impinging on its surface declines inversely with distance squared, and then it sends out the reflected light in our direction, and you have another factor of 1 over distance squared, so altogether 1 over distance to the 4th. I had a visitor to my office who discovered most of the Kuiper Belt, many of the Kuiper Belt objects, and I asked him, he's from Caltech, and the minute he sat in my sofa, I said, look, I just wrote this paper that if an object generates its own light, the brightness will increase inversely with distance squared, and if it's reflecting sunlight, it will change inversely with distance to the 4th. Did you ever check if the objects you discovered in the Kuiper Belt follow one or the other laws? And he said, why should I check? It must be 1 over distance to the 4th. That's the answer from the person who discovered many of the Kuiper Belt objects.
We are so fucking cooked. The military just launched this new robot that, you guessed it, is going to the front line. This is called Phantom. It's about 5'11", 170 pounds, and it will be having a gun. I don't know if you've ever played any video games or anything, but we're living in hell. Compare that with shit like this. Military helmet that lets you see through fucking walls. And then you start to realize, yeah, this is gonna get very bad very quickly. Hey, you can buy this shit right now for 130 bands. Yeah, robots will be in the war here very soon.
Wait, if you can buy it yourself, you can build an army.
I'm a conspiracy theorist, but you don't have to be one to find this timeline interesting. In 2019, 5G networks started rolling out around the world, and shortly after, the very first cases of COVID started to appear. Now go back a little further. In 2009, 4G rolls out, and that's when the swine flu pandemic hits. In 1998, 3G technology starts spreading, and so does the avian flu. In 1991, 2G networks begin, and so does a major cholera outbreak. Go all the way back to the 70s when 1G starts appearing, and so does the Russian flu scare. Now around 1920, radio technology begins to spread across the world, right around the time of the Spanish flu pandemic.
Wow.
Now I'm not saying one is caused by the other, but when you line up the timelines, it makes you pause for a second. But what do I know? I'm just a conspiracy theorist. Let me know what you think.
Emmy's had it right all along.
This image haunted me as a kid because I thought Leatherface was real. This, along with the last scene of the movie, really did scare me as a kid because I thought it was real and based on a true story. And in a way, it was. Leatherface was inspired by Ed Gein, who might have been even worse. The end of the movie is similar to the arrest footage of Ed Gein, and what they found in his home was just as horrific. Ed lived alone in rural Wisconsin, and when the police finally searched his house in 1957, they found something worse than any horror movie. Furniture was made from human bones, bowls made from skulls, and there were masks. Masks made of real human skin.
Wow.
It was like Ed was trying to become someone or something else.
I've seen the Ed Gein series. It's crazy.
I approached the object and shot 64 30mm shells at it. They had no effect at all. They looked like they were absorbed. 1,800 men were in formation at the airbase. They all observed a stationary object in the sky which looked like a balloon. My unit commander ordered me to take off with my jet. I approached the object, fired. But the object remained unbothered. Then object began to ascend and move far away from the base. I flew up high to attack it from above, but it began to ascend almost parallel to my plane. When I reached 63,000 feet, it stopped. At this point, I came to within about 300 feet of the UFO. After I landed, the object remained stationary in the sky for 2 hours for everyone at the base to see.
Why would you feel the need to fire upon it rather than try to communicate with it?
They're finally shutting down, y'all. And this might be the best news I've heard, bro. And you too, because who knows what these people were feeding us? Hundreds and hundreds of these big food chains are losing their power, and not because they want to, but it's because we're waking up. Listen to this, yo. Domino's is closing 200 of its locations worldwide, including 172 locations in Japan. Not to mention they have filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, so Domino's is going down. We know y'all were in the list. This guy over here, Papa John's, who looked like he's changed over the time, over the years. Look at that. Am I mistaken, bro? But nonetheless, over 200 Papa John's are closing its doors worldwide. Pizza Hut is closing down 250 of its locations, and that's only the beginning of the year, so who knows how much they're closing down this year. Wendy's is expected to close 300 to 600 of its locations worldwide, bro. Something is going on with Wendy's. Ever since Dave left, it has never been the same. Apparently, Denny's has been closing down its locations ever since 2025, and there's about 300 more about to close its doors this year. Popeyes has also filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and they're closing down 136 stores between Georgia and Florida, bro. And Arby's. And honestly, I don't even know how Arby's hasn't made the list yet. I never see anyone in the parking lot. Anyone that's trying to eat this is diabolical, bro. This thing must be a glitch in the Matrix. Because what most people don't realize is that all of these places, they're all connected. They're all interconnected. The same suppliers, the same system. It's the same pipeline feeding y'all the same crap. I mean, look at this. They're all feeding you the same thing. That's why it's the same food everywhere, the same fast food everywhere, bro. We cannot get away. And now it's finally shutting down. Y'all notice that all these quote unquote celebrities and public figures, they're withering away now, bro. And that's because we're not feeding the beast system no more, bro. The shift is here. I've been telling y'all. Like I said, all of this is taking place in the beginning of the year, bro. There's a lot more to come. Let me know what you guys think about this video. I told y'all the shift is here. We're in the midst of it. Let's continue to get it. Peace in.
Still be careful. They'll close down and open as something else.
The FBI is now officially sending out a warning that criminals are now showing up to people's homes wearing real-looking badges and federal agent jackets. So this is obviously insane, but the FBI just issued a warning that criminals across the country are impersonating federal agents. And they're saying that they are getting disturbingly good at it.
Their badges are fake, but the danger is pretty real. The FBI asking for your help to stop some imposters who are posing as federal agents.
They're showing up at people's houses with realistic badges, wearing official-looking jackets, and in some cases spoofing real FBI phone numbers so it looks like the call is coming from the actual place.
And talk to the officer from Social Security Administration. I repeat, from
Call us back. They're saying that this is how one of the scams work. You'll get a call from someone claiming to be your bank saying that there's suspicious activity on your account. And then they'll basically say that they need to transfer you to the FBI. The person that you're going to get transferred to sounds professional, has a badge number, and pressures you to stay on the line. Dude, they will sometimes even switch up to video calls on Zoom or WhatsApp to make it look real. Wow. The FBI is currently saying that victims have been robbed, threatened, and manipulated into handing over personal information and money. Real agents will obviously show you a badge and photo, but how are you supposed to verify they're real if you ask? Because what if they're lying? And guys, an FBI agent is never gonna ask you for money or a gift card.
Real Fed or fake Fed? I don't give a crap. I ain't opening the door.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. I am not asking your newspapers to support an administration, but I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. I am not asking your newspapers to support an administration, but I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people.
The GOAT.
Forewarning, you may not ever want to eat food again after watching this video. This is what Satan does to our food and has been doing to our food for years.
This is a dried parasitic insect that you eat every day. If I crush a small pile of these insects, scoop them up, and pour them into a vial of warm water, the water turns a deep red. This is used as a red dye. Guess which of these products have parasitic insects in them? Failed it.
And I've already made a video showing how Quaker strawberry oatmeal is really made with beaver's butthole. This is why it's imperative that we have spiritual discernment.
No way. This is why you pray over your food.
This is fallen angel technology. Humans cannot do this. What you're looking at, by the way, that's a hair. What you're looking at is an Apple chip, a processor chip under a microscope. It's literally impossible we can do what you're about to see. It's quite obviously magic. It's literally magic, like it's always been since the beginning of time. Fallen angels giving us crazy technology that we could otherwise not do. If you think that humans could just out the blue do this, then you are fooled. This is literally a copycat, a mimic of God's creation of the earth on a microscopic level. I mean, look how the cities are laid out. Like in the stars, you can see a grid pattern, like an energy pattern that exists. Do you know how close in we are right now? This is so ridiculous to think that we could even do this. Our phones are literal black mirrors that we are holding in our hand. It's literal black magic. Literally, you can watch somebody else's life even further. If you're a hacker, you can hack into someone's phone and see what they're doing at the moment, exactly like a crystal ball in a diviner. Really quickly, just for perspective, this is the zoom out. Like, how small this is freaking ridiculous that we could ever even, create at such a small, microscopic level. It is not human. I'm telling you, it's not human.
Matrix within the Matrix, building new matrices.
Box or chest was found in Jeffrey Epstein's storage unit, and this picture was taken before Jeffrey Epstein's arrest. So according to the recently released documents, Jeffrey Epstein had storage units everywhere. You can see this is a message from 2004 where they're talking about how someone named Sherry is confirmed at 9:30 a.m. at the storage unit, still waiting to hear back from blank, and the subject is G-Max message, or Ghislaine Maxwell. And I combed through the Epstein files and I was able to find some photographs from inside some of these storage units. As you can see here, this is a really ornate sort of box or chest that Epstein had in one of his units. There's actually a lot of furniture said to be inside of these storage units, like this piece as well. And as you can see in one of the messages, they actually list out some of the items in the unit, which include a white top table, a sofa with mattress, 8 bar chairs, 4 metal and 4 leather, 2 desks, metal frame, glass top, 2 chairs, speakers, 3 computers, and then screen fra LSJ. I'm assuming that's screen from Little St. James. And they even talk about, the checkered carpet that's in there. It's an old Boeing carpet. They're seeing if they need to dispose of the carpet. They even mention, speakers, a box with CDs, office chairs, rifles. There seems to have been so much evidence within these storage units, including right here you can see in 2015, this is from Richard Kahn, a guy who was integral in running Jeffrey's empire. And this comes right above that message I just read to you. They said old computers once wiped can be discarded. So my question is, what happened to those computers? Were they actually wiped? Because we know that even if you do wipe a device, people are still able to go back in and see what was on the device. So to me, if they were able to locate this computer or these computers, that could be a huge find in the case. However, to my knowledge, there has never been an actual search of one of Epstein's storage units. And I don't know if they're looking for them, if they're planning on doing something like this. I doubt that they are. But to me, this should have been something that was done years ago. And it's just another failure by the DOJ/FBI.
A new global lockdown is coming and it's getting serious.
Wow.
This time it's all about energy. Countries are rationing gas. Some are putting limits on how much fuel you can buy. Others are even grounding flights. Slovenia has already become the first country in Europe to implement fuel rationing. South Korea is doing the same thing. They're putting QR codes at the gas pump that limits how much gas each citizen can buy. The Philippines is trying to ground all flights because they don't have any fuel. American Airlines has cut flights by 5%. Governments around the world are trying to push work-at-home mandates to save fuel. Even the International Energy Agency is trying to restrict non-essential travel. Now, does this sound familiar? In 2020, we were told that lockdowns would only last a few weeks. It lasted years. Now, instead of a health crisis, we could be entering a period of peak energy, and that could be just as dangerous as a virus. The new world will be dominated by the power triad: compute, data, and energy. Energy is the foundation of everything. If oil prices don't start coming down, if geopolitical tensions continue, it will keep impacting supply chains, financial markets, global stability. This is bigger than the COVID lockdown. This is a system shift. Follow me if you want to understand where all of this is going.
What kind of specific How about we just don't comply? How about we realize that we outnumbered them by a landslide?
Example of why just a simple executive order and a stroke of the pen wouldn't reveal all the UAP files. Back in 1954, the Atomic Energy Commission, which is the precursor to the Department of Energy, it conducted the 1954 Atomic Energy Agreement, which gave birth to something called restricted data, which was basically a born classification for any materials that could be considered nuclear or nuclear secrets. Within this, there's such topics as transclassified foreign nuclear information, which made its way into the 2023, 2024, and 2025 UAP Disclosure Amendment, special nuclear materials, and foreign intelligence information. And such restricted data and classification systems, creative classification systems under the Department of Energy, those aren't so easily subjected to an executive order. So these born secret, considered nuclear secrets are not just going to be magically declassified. You know, I think back to Dylan Borland, who testified before the House in 2025 on his exposure to both the subject of UAP and UAP programs. And one of the things he stated was when he worked at DTRA, the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, he became aware of several files housed within the Atomic Energy Commission that concluded that some UFOs were indeed of extraterrestrial or non-human origin. So files like that, an executive order isn't going to be so easily able to cover. And with a declassification of the UAP files, we have to ask, is that going to be videos? I know that's what a lot of the people want, videos showing anomalous capabilities and extraordinary technical vehicles. Or is it going to be a declassification of the legacy program structure that deals with the retrieval and exploitation of non-human vehicles? Those are two very different things. So I think that a quick presidential declassification, we may get some interesting files, may get some interesting videos, but the legacy program structure is a whole nother bear to deal with, and a very challenging one, as I think you've come to encounter, sir.
It is extremely challenging, and just navigating it has been nearly impossible, which is why we hired David Grush as a part-time employee in the office, really just as even a consultant to tell us which rocks to pick up.
So it begs the question then, do you think that it's complex on purpose, even going back to the modern structure of how this is all kind of developed? I'm not so sure on purpose. So when I talk about UAP retrieval and exploitation programs, I reference a set of programs that have probably been in existence since 1947 or before. And for all intents and purposes, and I'll echo the words of David Grush here, this program or set of programs started as what we consider a Manhattan Project 2.0, a really coordinated effort to both retrieve and store and exploit non-human technical vehicles with extended secrecy programs in the Cold War. So we didn't reveal what we had to the Soviets and what sort of capabilities we may have derived or exploited from these vehicles to the Soviets. Over time, these programs likely housed within special access programs. During the Cold War, we see special access programs go revolutionary changes. I think back to 1983 in the revelations of Yellow Fruit, which was an unacknowledged special access program, which means a special access program with limited reporting that was conducted by the Army in relation to the Iran-Contra scandal. And at that point, there was a massive reform in special access program structure. So I believe there's instances like this where the legacy program structure has had to adapt, morph, and change to take advantage and hide from these oversight movements.
While you were busy today, the U.S. passed a law that they can cut off your car remotely. Leading the law today was Randy Fine, and this bill passed with Republicans and Democrats overwhelmingly voting for it. They say this bill is to stop drunk drivers by giving the police buttons that can turn off the computers in car. But they conveniently left out the part where it's only legal to do so when it's a drunk driver. Now the police legally have full authority to turn off anyone's car for anyone's reason. Things like this don't make it in the news, but they make it on my account. Follow me here, subscribe to my YouTube.
This is why they wanted electric cars so bad.
It's on Christian news and what is happening in the world today. China just signed a $37 million deal to deploy industrial-grade humanoid robots at real border crossings. And these aren't just demo robots. These are the Walker S2 humanoids. They are built for 24/7 operation with automatic battery swapping. That's right. They can take their own battery pack out, swap it out with zero downtime. Their job is for crowd control, inspections, logistics, guiding travelers, surveillance, and government-level enforcement. This is only one of many rollouts because China is expanding on what they call embodied AI across factories, public places, and even security. These robots don't tire, they don't question orders, and they do not have a conscience. Experts are even warning that this is the foundation of an AI-run enforcement system to replace human oversight. I want to give you relevant Christian news, not to scare you or put fear in you, but to warn you and to give an awareness of what is happening in the world today. If you
praise the Lord. Hey, but don't we learn from the movie Terminator?
The Federal Reserve has just given crypto exchanges full access to their core payment system. I don't think you guys realize how huge this is. This is the US central bank officially giving crypto the open door, meaning that prior to this decision, crypto and the traditional banking system were separate. Today, they are one. This is the official announcement from Kraken. Kraken has been granted a Federal Reserve master account, making them the first digital asset bank with direct access to the US payment system. Now, this is a huge benefit because Kraken can now move money through the Fed's payment rails, the exact same as JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and Citi. So a crypto exchange now officially has the exact same infrastructure as traditional banking.
So the White House just released something that has a lot of people concerned. And why do I say that? Because the White House has just released their very own app that you can download directly to your phone or tablet. And according to the website whitehouse.gov, new White House app delivers unparalleled access to the Trump administration. And that's where the concerning part comes into a lot of people, because they're concerned if they're going to get the unparalleled access that's promised, or is the government going to have unparalleled access to your device? And as you can see from some of the specs right here of the app, they will have access to your precise location. They will also have access to your fingerprints and facial ID as well. Take a look at it right there. And they'll also have access to not only all of your contacts on your phone, but all of the files as well. And that was just a little sample of what they'll have access to once you download the app. So I guess my question to you is, will you be downloading this app on your device?
Nope.
Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Welcome to North Korea.
The Philippines are now the first country to declare state of emergency due to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. The president says that they will now be controlling their movement and the distribution of their food supply, but they do say they only have 45 days left of fuel. As many of you know, they are one of our allies, so we'll see what happens.
There's an entire franchise on why this is a bad idea. And I didn't even believe this for a second. I was like, no, this has to be like a parody account or something, right? And then I was like, oh no, it's on Yahoo. There's multiple news articles about, this is breaking news as of like today, March 9th. Bro wants, women will inherit the earth. I'm all for that, but like, where wasn't on my bingo card, honestly.
I swear, it's all like the billionaires want to speedrun the apocalypse in all ways possible.
Did y'all know that Jeepers Creepers was based on a true story, or at least inspired by a true story? So you know how in the opening we see Trish and Derry driving on his road, and then eventually they see the bodies being thrown down a chute by an old church. So the same thing happened, but this time, from my knowledge, it was a couple, but some people say they were siblings. I don't know. But the true story basically is, on Easter Sunday in 1990, Dennis Depew, this guy right here, ended up crashing out on his wife because they was going through like a divorce or whatever, and he ended up like pushing her down some stairs in front of their kid, and then like literally crashed out on her and just like beat her to the point she was unalived in front of the kids. The kids started tripping out, like, what's going on? Like, he was trying to manipulate them, like, I'm gonna just take her to the hospital, I'm sorry, we just had a little issue. But they still like, nah, what are you doing to our mom? Instead of taking her to the hospital, he ended up putting her in the car while she's still hanging on for dear life, barely moving. He ended up taking her to like this side road, pew-pewing her in the head. And then once he did that, he continued driving to the schoolhouse, but he ended up passing a couple or some siblings, Trish and Derry basically. And they got a little curious because they saw how reckless he was driving. And they ended up following him and actually catching him dumping his wife Marilyn down a chute with some bloody sheet. And this happened in Michigan, by the way. That is actually crazy, y'all. So it was basically Jeepers Creepers. So this story was the opening of Jeepers Creepers. They definitely got it from this Dennis Depew story because it's literally like beat for beat. Only difference is they had some kids and they're witnessing everything that happened. A lot of these horror movies, y'all, actually be inspired by true stories or get something from it. I mean, like, look at Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Ed Gein. Let me know if y'all want me to keep doing these and we can keep continuing. Let me know in the comments.
I think Scream was real too.
BlackRock just froze all of their clients' assets. None of them can make withdrawals. Uh-oh. This is just the start. Have you seen the price of oil? Woo!
Archaeologists have uncovered mass graves and ritual sites tied to the Canaanites and their descendants. One striking example is at Gezer Island in Israel, an ancient Canaanite stronghold with a famous high place. Evacuators found a row of massive standing stones and beneath them jar burials of infants, some with burned bones and even mixed with animal bones as well. And early reports even mentioned signs of decapitation or mutilation in young children, all pointing to potential ritual sacrifice. right there in the land of the Bible. There's also talk of a more recent discovery, a roughly 2,500-year-old mass grave in Israel filled with jumbled remains of dozens of infants and young children, adding another layer to these horrible finds from this region. And then you have the famous Tophet and Carthage, a direct cultural descendant of the Canaanites. Over 20,000 urns filled with cremated bones of infants, many newborns to young children, and they're often mixed with animal bones like lambs, goats, and sometimes other creatures. Inscriptions dedicated to Baal and other gods. Some experts see clear evidence of child sacrifice with animals, sometimes used as substitutes when parents offered a lamb or goat instead of their own child.
Plasma is the future. They are studying how it links with our consciousness. AI is not the future, plasma computing is. And I'm going to tell you what it has to do with learning how to actually expand your consciousness, your resonance, and what it has to do with you having magic powers, real ones. Okay, this all starts with this company I visited called Ramir. And the owner of Ramir has a crazy story where he literally was in a tornado and got these massive downloads and connected with plasma in this beautiful way. And they have been studying this for almost 15 years and they haven't been able to talk about it publicly until now. And they invited me to come see their work. Of course, because I love plasma. Okay, so something very important to know. Since the 90s, people have known that potential breakthroughs can happen with plasma. Everyone was trying to force this plasma to create this energy. What they didn't know that this company has discovered, and a few others, is that you have to tickle it. It is the divine feminine. It is about massaging it. It is about harmonizing with it. You cannot force a woman. She will bite you. This is where the goddess mythology comes from, and it has to do with plasma. Okay, I'll get to the really cool stuff. This is cool too. So first thing they're doing, because they obviously are a company and have to make money, is they are using this technology and this new knowledge of plasma with making basically plasmoids. They now know how to stabilize the plasmoid long enough where methane can run through it. And they do a process called reformation, and it creates this really quality grade graphene. Right now when people drill for gas, they leak, add stuff for the environment. Machine fixes that. Also recombine the methane in a different way, keeping the hydrogen, making it an energy source. So it cleans the air or water or whatever they're cleaning, in this case the air, and also creates an energy source. Okay, but here's what really caught my attention. Basically, they learned that energy, frequency, and vibration coaxes this plasma. When they would get excited about it doing well, the machine would shut off. They noticed years ago this undeniable connection with plasma and consciousness and emotion. What they are doing is sort of creating this next generation plasma computing. Futures in plasma computing. This is going to start with reformation like they're doing, then transmutation. And then next is how plasma will harmonize with our consciousness. Let me explain. One of the guys there literally studying plasma and consciousness and how they interface. I dream. Studying sacred geometry, they want to benefit the environment and humanity. The next stage of this, think about it, will be our resonance matches the resonance of plasma in many different ways. We'll have this floating plasma grabbing something for you. Opportunities are endless. They're testing how our certain emotions affect the plasma. Using plasma, I had to use this hand with my mind to pick up blocks, and I did it. And I did it because I was in a certain state they're testing, which is a state of play and a state of not wondering how you'll do something, but focusing on the outcome of it. So I just picked up the block knowing I could, instead of thinking, oh, how can I pick up the block? Plasma works just like life. And a finer plasma, I posit, is the fabric of reality. It even responded to my heartbeat. Comment Plasma, my book on plasma intelligence in the future.
So Sienna and I have just come to Coles to literally get popcorn. And look, there's nothing. Look at the shelves here in Darwin. What the This is literally, there's nothing.
Wait, there's pineapple?
Oh yeah, some lemons.
Any Australian here would like to drop a comment? Don't hesitate, please.
There are pictures and video of this thing flying right over the moon. It just happened the other day, and I got it, baby cakes. I got it. Let me show you the video. Comes up in the bottom left corner. Flies right over the moon. Look at that. That's definitely something.
That's cockroach.
Poochkies. So I really don't know what this is, because I wasn't there and I wasn't flying it. But it moved right over the moon and people saw it. Let me show you that video one more time, then I'll tell you my opinion. Here we go, flying by the moon. Just skeet scatting and hip happen, taking its sweet old time moon flying, baby. Now, while I'm not sure what that thing is, one thing's for sure, it's curious, and I think that people deserve to know what's going on.
The date has been set. May 1st, the next economic blackout and general strike. No shopping that day, no work, no school, nothing. We shut this country down on an unprecedented scale. You have a month to let your boss, your teacher, your friends, your family members, everyone know if you own a business and can shut it down that day, it will be a powerful statement. My friends, we have been waiting for this for a long time. With economic blackout, political pressure, and protesting being our most powerful weapon, now is the time we bring it all together. We shut this country down, and we go beyond that. All of our friends internationally join in. May 1st, economic blackout, general strike. Hold the line and please share. Thank you.
Have Americans considered withholding their tax payments? What can the depleted IRS do?